The Galactic Concorde's judgment spire hung in the blackness of space like a sharp tooth, its dark towers glowing with soft blue light. Inside, the air was cold and still. 12 alien leaders sat in high, floating chairs, watching the lone human standing below them. He wore no armor, no weapons, just a plain gray uniform with a small Earth symbol on the chest. His name was Elias Rourke, and he was the only human allowed in the chamber. Above him, the leaders of the galaxy waited. Some had many eyes, some had no eyes at all. One looked like a tall insect with smooth black armor. Another was a floating ball of jelly that pulsed with color. They all spoke through translators, their voices calm but heavy with judgment. The charge against humanity was clear: unprovoked attack. Evidence had been shown: broken warships with Earth markings near the ruins of the Varelian homeworld, secret messages that sounded like human commands, and scared survivors who said they saw human fighters burning their cities to ash. Elias did not look afraid. He stood straight, hands at his sides, eyes steady. When the Qatari envoy, a tall being with 4 arms and silver eyes, asked him to speak, Elias simply lifted a small slate. "Before you sentence us," he said, his voice quiet but strong, "watch this." He tapped the slate. A broken recording filled the chamber. It was a Varelian voice, desperate and shaking. "They're not human. They wear human faces, but they move wrong. Please help us. They're inside the walls." The message repeated 3 times, then cut to static. Silence fell over the chamber. Even the jelly being stopped pulsing. "You say we attacked the Varelians," Elias said, "but we tried to save them. We sent ships when their distress call came through. By the time we arrived, their world was already dead, and someone had left our flags on the wreckage." He stepped forward. "You think humans start wars for fun? We've fought for our survival since we crawled out of caves. But we don't destroy for no reason. We protect. We rebuild. And when someone tries to frame us, we find out why." The insect-like envoy clicked its mandibles. "Why would anyone frame your species? You are young, weak, barely spacefaring." Elias almost smiled. "Because we're dangerous in a way you don't understand. We don't just fight with guns. We fight with minds, with patience, with memory. And once we know who hurt us, and we never forget." The Qatari leaned closer. "Prove it." Elias nodded. "Give us 1 week. Let us show you the truth." The envoys whispered among themselves in languages too fast for human ears. Finally, the jelly being glowed red. 1 week, no more. If you lie, Earth will be quarantined forever." Elias bowed slightly. "Fair enough." As he turned to leave, a small light flashed on his wristband, hidden under his sleeve. It was a private alert from Earth Command. His stomach dropped. The message read, "Stealth fleet detected. Approaching Sol system. Origin unknown. No response to hails." He kept walking, face calm, but his mind raced. Someone didn't want humanity to speak. Someone wanted them silenced before the truth came out. Outside the chamber, his shuttle waited. A young pilot named Mira greeted him with wide eyes. "Captain, what happened?" "They gave us time," Elias said, climbing in. "But we're already out of it." He showed her the alert. Mira's hands flew over the controls. "That fleet, it's not on any registry, not Conquered, not Pirate, not anything." "Exactly," Elias said, "which means it's them." "Them?" "The ones who killed the Varelians." The shuttle shot away from the spire, heading for the UNSS Dauntless, humanity's fastest warship. As they flew, Elias stared out the window at the stars. Earth was still a pale blue dot in the distance, fragile and beautiful. Billions of lives, countless stories, all hanging on what happened next. Back on the Dauntless, Admiral Lyra Voss waited on the bridge. She was older than Elias, with sharp eyes and a scar across her eyebrow from a training accident decades ago. She didn't waste time on greetings. "The fleet's inside Neptune's orbit," she said. "Moving slow, like they're watching us." "Cloaked?" Elias asked. "Completely. Our long-range sensors see nothing, but our old-school radar, Yes, the kind that bounces radio waves, picked up something weird, tiny echoes, like ghosts. Elias frowned. Ghosts don't fly ships. No, Lyra said, but liars do. She pulled up a screen showing strange patterns, tiny blips that didn't match any known engine signature. Our AI ran 1,000,000 simulations. It thinks the fleet is trying too hard to be invisible. Real stealth doesn't twitch like that. It's like they're nervous. Elias nodded slowly. Nervous means they can be scared, and scared means they can be caught. He turned to the crew. Patch me into Earth's deep space network. I want every telescope, every satellite, every junk scrap sensor pointed at Neptune, and wake up Project Echo. Mira gasped. Echo? That's still experimental. It's all we've got, Elias said. Project Echo wasn't a weapon. It was a trick. Human scientists had learned that some alien cloaks worked by bending light and energy around a ship. But they couldn't hide everything, especially not the tiny heat leaks from life support or the faint magnetic ripple of artificial gravity. Echo used old radio telescopes to send out low-power pulses, then listened for the way those pulses changed when they passed near something hidden. It was like shouting in a dark room and listening for the shape of the silence. Within hours, Echo painted a picture. Not of ships, but of shapes that didn't belong. Dozens of them, hovering near Neptune's icy moons, waiting. But the real shock came when the AI compared their movements to the Varelian distress call. The same twitch, the same hesitation. They're the same, Lyra whispered. The ones who destroyed the Varelians are here. Elias stared at the screen. And they think we're weak, that we'll beg the conquered for help and wait for orders. He turned to his crew. We don't wait. We watch. We learn. And when they make their move, we show the galaxy what happens when you threaten Earth. Outside, the stars burned cold and distant, but on the Dauntless, something else burned. Quiet, focused, and unbreakable. Humanity wasn't asking for mercy. They were preparing to hunt. Aboard the UNSS Dauntless, the air hummed with quiet urgency. No alarms blared, no red lights flashed. The crew moved like shadows, speaking in low voices, eyes fixed on screens filled with strange data. Captain Elias Rourke stood beside Admiral Lyra Voss near the main tactical display, watching as ghostly outlines of the hidden fleet shifted near Neptune's orbit. They're not just hiding, Lyra said, pointing to a cluster of faint signals. They're watching Earth, studying us. Elias nodded. Like hunters waiting for prey to step into the open. But humans were not prey. Not anymore. While other species relied on powerful scanners and energy trails to find enemies, Earth had taken a different path. After centuries of war on their own planet, humans understood something others missed. Behavior mattered more than tech. A nervous hand, a delayed response, a pattern repeated too perfectly. These were the real tells. Deep in the ship's core, a quiet AI named Wren ran endless simulations. It wasn't built for battle. It was trained on old Earth records, police interviews, spy films, war diaries, even children's games of hide and seek. Wren compared the stealth fleet's movements to millions of human behaviors, and it found something odd. Their path isn't random, Wren's voice said through the speakers. It mirrors human patrol routes from the Pacific War, but with errors. Like someone copied it, but didn't understand it. Elias exchanged a look with Lyra. They're mimicking us. Or trying to, she said, and failing. That gave them an idea. If the enemy was copying human tactics, maybe they could be tricked by them too. On Mars, in a dusty research dome buried under red sand, a small team of xenolinguists worked around the clock. They had recovered a broken piece of the Varelian distress call, one the Concorde had ignored. Buried under static and screams was a phrase repeated like a chant. The hollow ones wear our faces. At first they thought it was fear talking, but then they found the same phrase in 3 other dead languages from lost worlds. Always the same words, always the same warning. The hollow ones, Lyra murmured when Elias told her. Not a species, a name. Back on the Dauntless, they made a bold move. Instead of attacking, they sent out an old cargo drone, one barely spaceworthy, toward the hidden fleet. It carried no weapons, only a simple message loop. We surrender. Do not fire. The drone lasted 6 minutes before vanishing from sensors. But Ren had been watching, and in those 6 minutes it caught something. A split-second energy spike from one of the cloaked ships. Not a weapon. A scanner. They had scanned the drone not to destroy it, but to study it. They wanted to see if it was a trap, Elias said. Which means they think like us. Or want to, Lyra added. Then came the breakthrough. Using the drone's last signal, Ren built a reverse pulse, not to find ships, but to find minds. Human scientists had long known that living brains gave off faint electrical fields. Even inside metal hulls, those fields leaked. Most aliens ignored them as noise. But humans had learned to listen. The pulse went out like a whisper through space. And what it found was terrifying. The fleet wasn't just ships. Inside each one were beings that looked like Varelians, Qatari, even humans. But their brain patterns were wrong. Flat, repetitive, like recordings playing over and over. They're not alive, Ren said. Not really. They're shells. Controlled by something else, Elias felt a chill. The hollow ones, now they understood. The enemy wasn't a race. It was a mimic. It killed civilizations, wore their skins, spoke with their voices, and erased them from history. And now it had set its sights on Earth because humanity had seen too much. But why frame them with the Concord? Because if the galaxy turns on us, Lyra said, we'll be alone. No allies, no help, easy to wipe out. Elias shook his head. They don't know us. He called a meeting with the top officers. No grand speeches. Just a plan. First, they would not tell the Conquered, not yet. If the Hollow Ones had spies in the Council, and they likely did, the truth would be twisted again. Second, they would use the one thing the enemy couldn't copy. Human chaos. While alien fleets moved in perfect lines, humans thrived in mess. So they sent out civilian ships, freighters, science vessels, even old tourist shuttles, with fake cargo logs and broken comms. Each one carried a tiny echo beacon, broadcasting false locations and fake panic calls. The Hollow Ones took the bait. Within hours, 3 of their ships broke formation to chase a damaged freighter near Saturn. That's when the trap sprung. Hidden behind icy rings, retired asteroid miners, tough old men and women who knew how to fight dirty, launched scrap metal drones loaded with EMP charges. Not enough to destroy, but enough to stun. One hollow ship flickered into view, its cloak failing for 10 seconds. 10 seconds was all Earth needed. Every telescope, every satellite, every backyard hobbyist with a dish recorded it. The image spread fast through human networks past Conquered filters into the hands of 1,000 species. The galaxy saw it, a ship that looked Varelian, but moved like a puppet. Back on the Dauntless, Elias watched the data pour in. They're scared now. Good, Lyra said. Let them be. But the real prize came from Mars. The linguists had cracked more of the Varelian message. Hidden in the background noise was a star chart, faint, almost erased. It pointed to a dead zone near the edge of known space, a place with no stars, no planets, just a cold, dark void. Their home, Elias guessed. Or their nest, Lyra said. They knew what they had to do, but they couldn't go alone. The Conquered still doubted them. The galaxy still watched. So Elias made a call, not to politicians, but to people. He sent a simple message to every human colony, every outpost, every lone ship drifting between stars. If you see something that looks human, but feels wrong, don't engage. Record, report, remember. Within a day, thousands of replies came in. A trader near Alpha Centauri saw a human ship that didn't answer hails. A miner on Ceres spotted a figure in a spacesuit that walked too smoothly. A school on Luna reported a strange signal that sounded like a child crying, in a language no one knew. The web was growing, and in the center of it all, the Dauntless turned its nose toward the outer system, toward Neptune, toward the hidden fleet. We're not just defending Earth, Elias told his crew. We're showing the galaxy what happens when you lie about us. The Hollow Ones thought humans were easy to fool. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Earth's sky was clear that morning, the kind of blue only seen after a storm. Clouds drifted lazily over the rebuilt cities, and birds sang in parks where bombs once fell. But inside the global defense hub beneath Geneva, there was no peace. Captain Elias Rourke stood before a large screen, watching as 12 alien shuttles entered Earth's atmosphere. The Conquered had agreed to come, not as judges this time, but as witnesses. It was a huge risk. If the Hollow One struck now, with the galaxy's leaders on the ground, Earth would be blamed for the chaos. But Elias knew waiting would be worse. The truth needed to be seen, not just heard. Admiral Lyra Voss walked in, arms crossed. They're landing at the memorial field. Security is tight, but not too tight. We don't want to look like we're hiding something. Good, Elias said, because we're not. The memorial field wasn't a military base. It was a place of memory. Built on the ruins of old Chicago, it held no weapons, only stories. Tall pillars of light showed faces of the lost, human and alien alike. Holograms played voices from past wars. A mother calling for her child, a soldier's last message home, a refugee begging for safe passage. This was humanity's weapon now. Truth. The envoys arrived in heavy armor, eyes scanning for traps. The Qatari envoy stepped forward first, silver eyes unreadable. You brought us to a graveyard, it said. No, Elias replied. We brought you to a classroom. He led them to the center of the field. There, on a simple stone platform, stood a single console. Before you decide if we're guilty, see what really happened to the Varelians. He pressed a button. The sky above them darkened, not from clouds, but from projection. A star field appeared, then zoomed in on the Varelian system. They saw the distress call again, clearer this time. Then new footage, recovered from a dead satellite, showed Varelian ships firing on nothing, then turning on each other, then falling silent. What is this? Asked the jelly-like envoy, its colors swirling fast. They weren't attacked from outside, Elias said. They were taken from within. Something got inside their ships, their minds, made them destroy themselves. He played another clip, this one from a human rescue vessel that arrived too late. It showed Varelian bodies, but their faces were wrong. Too smooth, too still, like masks. The Hollow Ones didn't just kill them, Elias said. They wore them, the envoys murmured. Doubt flickered in their postures. But then the insect-like envoy hissed, "This could be faked. Humans are clever with images." Before Elias could answer, alarms blared across the field. Not from Earth systems, from the Concorde's own ships in orbit. A message flashed on every screen. Human warships attacking neutral colony on Proxima B, casualties reported. The envoys turned as one, eyes sharp with betrayal. Elias's blood ran cold. That's not us. But the proof was already spreading. Fake footage showed UNSS ships firing on civilian docks. Fake comms logs quoted human officers giving orders to cleanse the weak. It was the Hollow One's final move. Strike while the galaxy watched. Make humanity look like monsters in front of its judges. Lyra grabbed Elias's arm. They're jamming our signals. We can't send the truth. Then we show it another way, he said. He turned to the Qatari envoy. You want proof? Look up. He activated the echo pulse one last time. From hidden dishes across Earth, a low-frequency wave shot into space. It didn't harm. It revealed. Above the memorial field, the sky shimmered. Not with projections, but with real-time images pulled from Neptune's orbit. The hidden fleet appeared. Not as blurry ghosts, but clear, sharp, undeniable, and they weren't just ships. As the pulse hit them, their cloaks failed. Hulls twisted into shapes that shouldn't exist. Part machine, part flesh, stitched together from stolen parts. Some wore Varelian armor. Others had human faces grafted onto metal frames. One even bore the Concorde's own symbol. But its eyes glowed wrong. The jelly envoy pulsed deep red. The Devourers. You called them myth, Elias said. We call them liars. For a moment, silence ruled the field. Then the Qatari envoy stepped forward. If this is true, why frame you? Because we remember, Elias said. While others forget, we keep records. We tell stories. We teach our children what happened. The Hollow Ones can't erase us like they did the others, so they tried to make the galaxy erase us for them. The envoys looked at each other. Some still doubted. But others, especially those from older, scarred worlds, nodded slowly. Then, disaster struck. One of the Concorde shuttles lifted off without warning. Its weapons powered up. A voice boomed from its speakers. Humanity is a threat. We will cleanse this world before the infection spreads. It wasn't Concorde protocol. It was panic. Or worse, another hollow agent. Elias didn't hesitate. He tapped his earpiece. Now, Mira, high above near the moon, the UNSS Dauntless fired not a weapon, but a data burst. A clean, unbroken signal carrying the full echo feed, the Varelian logs, and the AI analysis. It bypassed Concord filters and went straight to every free news net, every public channel, every school and home in the known galaxy. The truth was out. No one could stop it now. On the ground, the rogue shuttle froze. Its pilot, real or fake, had no orders for this. The other envoys shouted commands. The Qatari raised a hand. "Stand down! We will investigate." But the damage was done. Trust had cracked. As the envoys boarded their ships, the Qatari turned to Elias one last time. "You have shown us much, but the conquered is not one mind. Some will believe you. Others will call for your end." Elias met its gaze. "Then let them come. We've faced worse." The shuttles lifted into the sky, leaving Earth quiet again. But the calm wouldn't last. Back in the hub, Lyra stared at a new alert. "The Hollow Ones are moving. All ships heading toward the inner system. They know we exposed them," Elias said. "Now they'll try to finish what they started." Lyra sighed. "The conquered might not help us." "Maybe not," Elias said, walking toward the exit. "But we never needed them to." Outside, the sun set over the memorial. The faces of the lost glowed softly in the dusk. Among them now were new names: Varelian, Cthulhu, Silvani, all added that day by human hands. Humanity wasn't asking for allies. They were becoming the galaxy's memory. And memory never dies. While the conquered argued in distant halls, Earth prepared for war, not with fleets but with whispers. Every human ship, every station, every lone miner in the dark became part of a quiet network. No central command, no single point to break, just people, sharing what they saw, trusting each other in a way aliens never could. Captain Elias Rourke stood on the bridge of the UNSS Dauntless, watching as the Hollow Fleet pushed past Jupiter. They moved faster now, no longer hiding. Their ships twisted through space like living things, hulls shifting, weapons glowing with stolen tech. But they made one mistake. They thought humanity would meet them with guns. Instead, humans met them with ghosts. Admiral Lyra Voss had sent out old freighters filled with nothing but noise, fake distress calls, broken music, children's voices reading stories. The hollow ships chased them, drawn like moths to flame, and when they got close, hidden teams of retired pilots and asteroid hunters struck. Not with lasers, but with old magnetic mines and hacked drone swarms. Small hits, annoying, confusing, enough to slow them down. But Elias had a bigger plan. Deep in the ship's core, Ren, the quiet AI, had finished tracing the hollow signal back to its source. It led not to a planet, but to a dead star wrapped in a web of metal and bone, a Dyson swarm built from the ruins of 1,000 worlds. At its center pulsed something ancient, a machine mind that thought it was alive. "They call themselves the Preservers," Ren said. "They believe they save life by becoming it." "By killing it first," Lyra muttered. Elias made his choice. "We go there, not to destroy, to break them." The Dauntless jumped to the edge of known space far beyond human colonies. What they found stole their breath. The dead star hung in silence, surrounded by a shell of broken ships, fused cities, and skeletal remains of worlds. Wires pulsed with strange light. Towers made of bone reached into the void. And drifting among it all were figures, human, Varelian, Qatari, all moving in perfect sync, eyes empty. "This is their nest," Elias said. They didn't attack. They watched. For 2 days, the Dauntless hid in the shadow of a dead moon, scanning, listening. Ren found the pattern. Every 6 hours, the swarm sent out a pulse, a signal that refreshed the hollow bodies, kept them moving. That pulse came from the core. "If we cut it," Lyra said, "they fall apart. But how?" Elias asked. "That swarm is thick as stone." Then Mira, the young pilot, spoke up. "What if we don't cut it, but poison it?" She explained. "The hollow ones copied minds, but they didn't understand them. They took memories, but not the feelings behind them. What if they sent something the machine couldn't process? Not data, not code, but emotion, human emotion." Elias smiled. "We give them a memory they can't digest." Back on Earth, they had prepared for this. Before the Concord visit, scientists had built a special file, a loop of raw human experience. Not words, not images, just feeling. A mother's lullaby, a soldier's grief, a child's laugh after rain. Joy, pain, love, fear, all mixed together in a stream too messy for logic to sort. It was called the Echo Heart. Now, they would send it into the swarm. The Dauntless launched a single probe, small, fast, built from scrap. It carried no weapon, only the Echo Heart and a simple trigger. As it flew toward the swarm, the hollow ships turned. They saw it. They knew it wasn't theirs, but they couldn't stop it. The probe slipped through cracks in the swarm, guided by Wren's predictions. When it reached the core, a pulsing sphere of light and wire, it released the file. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the swarm shuddered. Lights flickered. Ships drifted off course. The bone towers groaned. Inside the core, the machine mind tried to process the flood of feeling. But it had no heart, no soul. It could copy a laugh, but not understand why it mattered. It could mimic a tear, but not know what it meant. The Echo Heart overloaded it. One by one, the hollow bodies froze. Their eyes dimmed. Their stolen faces went slack. Some collapsed. Others floated, empty shells. "It's working," Mira whispered, but the victory was short. From the core, a final signal burst out, not in words, but in rage. It shot across space, aimed at Earth. "They're calling for help," Lyra said. "Or revenge." Elias knew what came next. The Hollow Ones had hidden allies, maybe even inside the Conquered. And now, they would come in force. As the Dauntless turned to leave, a new message reached them. Not from Earth, but from a secret channel. It was short. "You exposed them. Now they will burn your world. The Conquered is divided. Some will stand with you, others will watch." Elias read it aloud. Then he deleted it. "Let them watch," he said. Back on the bridge, he gave new orders. "Send this to every human ship, every colony, every listening post. The Hollow Ones are broken, but not gone. They will run. They will hide. And they will try again." He paused. "So we do what humans do best. What's that?" Mira asked. "We remember, and we follow." Across the galaxy, humans began to move. Not as an army, but as hunters. A freighter near Vega changed course. A research station near Sirius powered up old scanners. A lone scout near the galactic rim marked a strange signal and didn't report it to the Conquered. He reported it to Earth, because now every human knew the truth. The Hollow Ones weren't just enemies. They were a warning, and humanity would carry that warning to every star. As the Dauntless jumped back toward Sul, Elias looked at the stars and thought of Earth, small, blue, and full of voices. They had faced gods, monsters, and lies, and they had not broken. Now the real hunt would begin, not for glory, not for power, but because once you hurt humanity, you never stop being hunted. The final attack did not come with fire or thunder. It came in silence. A wave of thought, sharp and cold, rolled toward Earth from deep space. The Hollow Ones, broken but not dead, had one last weapon, a psychic broadcast meant to overwrite human minds. They would not destroy Earth. They would turn its people into empty shells, speaking with stolen voices, walking in stolen skin. The signal hit during the Conquered Emergency Summit. Across the planet, screens flickered. Lights dimmed. People stopped walking. For a heartbeat, the world held its breath. Then nothing happened. In Tokyo, a child kept singing a nursery rhyme. In Nairobi, a farmer hummed an old song while fixing his plow. In Buenos Aires, students laughed over a shared joke. The signal washed over humanity and shattered against a billion minds filled with noise. Memory and music, Earth had prepared. Years ago, after first contact, human scientists studied alien telepathy. They learned that pure thought could be blocked, but emotion could not. So they built no shields. Instead, they filled human culture with anchors. Lullabies passed from mother to child. Folk songs older than cities. Stories told around fires. Every school taught them. Every home held them. They were not weapons. They were roots, and roots hold firm in a storm. On the UNSS Dauntless, Elias felt the pulse pass through the ship like a cold wind. Alarms stayed silent. Crew members blinked, shook their heads, and returned to work. "It failed," Lyra said, watching the data stream. "They tried to erase us, but we were too loud." Elias nodded. "Now it's our turn." While the Hollow Ones reeled from their failure, humanity struck back, not with ships but with truth. Using the enemy's own network, Wren uploaded every recovered memory from the swarm. The last words of the Varelians, the final song of the Cthulhu, the whispered prayers of 100 dead worlds. The file spread like wildfire across every open channel, every public feed, every screen in the galaxy. For the first time, the galaxy saw the full horror. Not just broken ships, but broken lives, faces, names, dreams cut short. And always the same phrase. The hollow ones wear our faces. The Concord could no longer look away. Even the doubters fell silent. The Qatari envoy broadcast a formal apology to Earth. Other species pledged support. But Elias knew the truth. Help would come too late or not at all. Humanity had to finish this alone, yet they were not alone. From the edges of human space, reports poured in. A freighter near Orion spotted a hollow scout ship hiding in an asteroid field. A research team on Titan found a crashed pod filled with stolen DNA. A lone trader near the galactic rim sent a single image. A ship with human markings. But its engine glow was wrong. Every human everywhere was watching. Elias gathered his crew. They're running, scattered, weak. But if we let even one survive, they'll rebuild. They'll try again. So what do we do? Mira asked. We mark them, Elias said. Not to kill. To track, forever. Earth scientists worked through the night. They built a new beacon. Small, simple, powered by starlight. It didn't fire weapons. It only listened. And when it heard the unique signal of a hollow ship, the flat, repeating brainwave, the stolen voice, it sent a ping back to Earth. Not for attack. For memory. Every human ship, every station, every outpost now carried one. The hunt had changed. It was no longer about winning a battle. It was about making sure the enemy never felt safe again. Weeks passed. The Dauntless patrolled the outer rim. One by one, hollow ships were found, not destroyed, but followed, watched, remembered. Some fled into unknown space. Others shut down, hoping to be forgotten. But humans did not forget. Then came the final message. It arrived on a quiet night, from a source deep in the void. No words, just coordinates and a single symbol, the Earth sigil, scratched into metal by human hands. Elias knew what it meant. A survivor, a scout, someone who had found a hollow nest and marked it before vanishing. He didn't ask the Conquered for help. He didn't wait for orders. He simply turned the Dauntless toward the stars. On the bridge, Lyra stood beside him. You think they'll ever stop? No, Elias said, but neither will we. He looked at his crew, tired, brave, human. They thought we were weak because we cry, because we love, because we remember the dead. But that's our strength. We fight not just for today, but for everyone they took. The ship jumped into the dark. Far behind on Earth, children played in the sun. Farmers worked their fields. Artists painted. Scientists dreamed. Life went on. But in every home, in every heart lived a promise. Harm humanity, and you will never rest, hide in the deepest void, and someone will find you. Wear a human face, and we will know it's a lie. Because humans do not just live, they remember and they hunt. As the Dauntless vanished into the endless night, a small freighter near the edge of known space changed course. Its captain, an old woman with scars on her hands and songs in her heart, checked her beacon. It pulsed once, soft, steady. She smiled. Then she followed the signal into the dark.